Alright guys, this is possibly our last match tonight.
Possibly.
If Noblesse wins, it will be.
So it is actually labeled as match 9, however it is match 10 on the schedule. It is going to be on Belshire Beach. The thing is match 8 on the schedule, which was anypro versus Tassadar. It was not needed to be played since both players were 0-3 and could not qualify. And that's the point of these matches, to see who qualifies for Code S, or stays in Code S. So our last match is going to be between SC and Noblesse. If Noblesse wins this, him and ASD will move on. If SC wins this, we have a three-way tie between these three players. Yeah, three-way tie between two players doesn't work out too well. So we'll really see after that exactly how that's going to be handled. Not sure if it's a three-way match-off after that.
Yeah, it's a lot of different weird possibilities that happen when if that situation occurs. Belshire Beach, like we were talking about earlier, a very interesting map to have for TVT. Don't see it very often this matchup, for whatever reason. Just hasn't really come up.
Yeah, and so our last match is a TVT once again. We saw an interesting one last game with Noblesse and ASD. Noblesse did a really nice job of defending, having a lot of Vikings in position to prevent the drops, and then was able to move out after that quite well.
All right, we're going to jump into this game. Very important match. If Noblesse wins, he gets the spot. If not, chaos ensues at the GSL up and down
Flip
matches.
some coins if we're like some other tournament. Or we play some more great
They
StarCraft.
who shall not be named. All right, guys, over here at the top left, a member of the team FXO, formerly FOU, of course. His name is FOU. He's a very young guy. A lot of you guys don't realize this. I believe he's 16 years old
Really?
US. Yep.
Wow, I thought he was a lot older than that.
Yeah, me too. Bottom right over here. We have
MVP Noblesse.
I think he was born in 1995, if I remember correctly. So he's
Oh my god.
a lot younger than you guys think, or most of you guys probably.
SC Kodas Nun Galgayo. So SC, go to Kodas, please.
Please. Gas first? No, I'm sorry. That's not a gas, guys. That's a barracks.
Gas just feeds directly into the barracks and just pumps so we are actually having similar builds out here from both players. Sorry about that. We did have a little bit of a technical difficulty getting that worked on. So both players scouting roughly the same time. The SCV's high five in the middle of the map by the Zelnaga Towers. Or, I don't know what they actually are on this map. They look like the GSL trophies, I think, but they come out of the ground.
They do kind of look like those trophies, yeah. I think they look really cool. The watchtowers on dual sight are warp gates, and that just kind of irks me a little bit. It makes me want to press W and build Protoss units out of them.
Even when you're playing Zerg or Terran.
I'm like, I want to play PvP, I'm going to build 3 gateways.
So that SCV does get lucky and gets away with his life after scouting what's going on. The SCV for Noblesse doesn't get as much information. So SC is actually going to keep his SCV in the back of the third base of Noblesse, be able to scout in later on to see when the expansion timing is going to be occurring. Very important information to know when your opponent's expanding or going for critical tech. But both players doing almost the exact same thing, except now Noblesse is going for a reactor and a second refinery, just a little bit faster than SC. SCV going in, about to get out, and then be like, wait, no, I don't want to live. What am I doing?
Sorry guys, I'm being a little bit quiet because I've got the Golem Wizard here again, trying to fix another technical problem with my headset.
Really, it doesn't exist. It's just someone like giving a little extra stimpacks to Wolf so he keeps casting.
See command start going down for Noblesse. I'm gonna be silent again for a moment, Trevor, because I don't know if my headset gets unplugged.
Oh, SCV getting a tan there on the beach. I wonder if you can get a tan through that suit.
Probably pretty hard.
You can get it inside when you're just through a glass window, so.
Reactor Hellions again. Hoping to switch.
Again, they're doing almost the exact same build idea. Their timings are slightly off because one player is going for an earlier starport, the other player is going for earlier other units. There's actually a lot more supply out here for SE just because he got those first units out a little bit earlier, and these Hellions are going to be going across the map quite quickly. He's split them nicely so that if he does run into the Hellions of his opponent, they can't do that line damage like we were talking about in the earlier games. Very important in this stage of the game. If you can get those extra hits off on your opponent where your opponent doesn't get on you, it can give you a huge lead that can then let you expand faster, get other units out a little bit earlier, or get these Cloaked Banshees that we see Noblesse going for at this moment.
He went Reactor Hellions, and then what you can do is, my headset is back alive, I can hear myself, I can hear you, so everything's great. You can use the Hellions to keep the Marine numbers low. Sometimes a lot of players try to do that little type of sneaky strategy.
Yeah.
This is going to be very interesting how this plays out. That one Marine is going to discourage SE from going forward, but his Hellions bunched up a lot.
Very nice shot from Noblesse. He was able to get 3 of those Hellions in a line, do a lot of damage to all of them, force them to go home. There is a medevac coming out here for SC, so he's going to be able to pick these Hellions up and get them out to get repaired, or just go in for a very aggressive attack if he wants. It really gives him a lot of different options to be able to do different things at this moment. However, there is a Banshee on the way to SC's base as well that he's going to need to be able to defend against. He needs to start getting a Viking very soon.
He's actually making a tech lab on his starport, so he's not going to have a Viking in time when this gets here. He doesn't have any turrets yet either, so this is going to be relatively difficult for him to defend this, especially because his Marines are all, well, just kind of far away.
All his Marines are actually in the medevac on the way to Noblesse's base. This is an interesting drop to do at this stage of the game. Normally, what you'd want to do with this type of build is to go for the 4 Hellion drop. But he's actually bringing a Hellion and 6 Marines.
Noblesse, while he's doing this Banshee harass, he has his Hellions at home, so the Hellions are going to defend against these Marines quite easily.
But there are 6 more Hellions coming in from the front. They are going to be able to do a lot of damage. Excuse me, 7. Oh, he's going to be able to roast a lot of these SCVs very quickly. However, the drop gets taken out relatively easily, and these other Hellions are going to be forced to back up a little bit, but not before doing a lot of damage. But on the other side, there is a Cloaked Banshee in SC's mineral line as well. This is going to be really interesting to see how this all plays out when this Banshee does finally get chased out. The Viking is here, the scan goes down, the Banshee starts to take hits, stays a little too long, but is going to be able to get away just barely with his life. 24 health, still a lot of energy from
his life, man. That's a female Banshee. Come on, Torch. Did get about 17 kills though, and is actually continuing to get more. Gonna try to force another scan. Hellions over here trying to do a little bit of harass. Do get shut down.
This is really interesting. Both players going for very aggressive harassment going on. Noblesse at 31 supply, SC at 28 supply. Both players still on 15 SCVs, so they're doing almost exact same amount of damage, but in completely different ways.
And it looks like Noblesse is going to start to get a little bit ahead here, killing even more SCV as the Raven is out, though. The Banshee is going to have to leave or die. Leave or die. Noblesse in a really good spot from here, though, because even though he doesn't have much of an army, he has 2 command centers. He's got double mules.
He's got the cloak up for the Banshees, so he is able to get that extra tech and keep Noblesse keep SC in his base, even though he does have that Raven out. He also does have that second command center that you were talking about that's really going to help him build back up those SCVs very quickly. SC choosing to keep all his SCVs on minerals only right now, going to make it very difficult for him to get tech. However, he does have almost 500 gas saved up, so that's a good choice on his part.
And Noblesse getting very aggressive here with the Banshee and the Hellions. I'm not sure if I agree with this at this given point in time. He doesn't have that many Marines. This could be, he could lose somewhat of an advantage here if he messes this up, but he is just going to sit back, carefully poke at this depot. SC doesn't really know how many units are behind there, so he doesn't want to run forward and try to attack.
Yeah, he also doesn't have any Hellions, so he can't do any sort of really quick counterattacks here, but he is...
Auto turret going to be dropped. I like that.
Interesting choice, but very good in this situation. This Hellions do almost no damage to it. It will also be around for quite a while. They last for about 3 minutes without upgrades.
But the tank
has more range.
Yep, can outrange that. Take it out.
Oh, that is unfortunate.
Well, that dropship is a fake, maybe? I don't know. That was a little weird.
He just thought he was too far ahead in the game and wanted to balance it out. It was a Manor dropship.
Manor drop.
Oh, now Manor Dance here, losing a few more units. But the Cloaked Banshee in the back, that's a really good maneuver. He's keeping the main forces of SC in the front while he's going to be able to do a lot of damage to those SCVs once again.
Killing a lot of those SCVs. The reactor is going to go down.
Yeah, this army from Noblesse is doing a really good job. If he is able to win this fight here, he has siege mode going down. He can force back a lot of his Marines, but there are
so
still
much
a lot.
damage.
If he can win this fight and win this game, he moves on to Code S. This is a pivotal moment for both of these players. SC might get knocked down to Code A.
Something that I don't think anyone really expected to happen.
But we do have an auto turret coming in here right next to the siege tanks in a second. And then that's going to trigger him to move in. And landing those Vikings, very good maneuver. If he can take out these siege tanks, he will be able to defend a little bit longer. But he needs to get those Vikings out and save them as long as he can. One more tank in there. It is going to get... Oh, it's going to be fine, actually.
Well, the weird thing is, even though SC held it off, he's got a much better army. If he realizes that pretty soon, he might be able to get aggressive. But then again, he doesn't really have any Marines. He lost that reactor.
And he just got a second
It's funny because neither of these guys really have an army, actually. They've got 2 siege tanks and 9 Marines out for Noblesse, a Viking, 2 Marines, a Raven, 2 Hellions, and a dropship out for SC. Yeah. But the command center's been up for a while. He's powered up a little bit more. He didn't lose reactors. He's got his reactor up still. He's continuing to make units out of the factory and the starport.
SC also has that Raven that's constantly gaining energy. The more it gets, he can throw down auto turrets, try to get point defense drones.
We're
also,
not
he's safe against Banshees.
Exactly. It's good for the Banshees. We're probably not going to see many point defense drones given the composition of Noblesse, but I think the Raven having those auto turrets there can be so pivotal in those very small unit moments like we saw. You know, auto turret, if your opponent has like 20 supply of units there, it's not going to really work, but if you got just 2 siege tanks and like a Marine, yeah, it's going to work out pretty well for you. So... This Banshee's going to come over here. Yep. There's a Viking waiting for her.
Maybe.
The Viking's a stalker.
Banshee was about to get in, no problem, but decided that wasn't what he really wants to do. Wants to pull the Viking away. So the Banshee, I don't know what he's doing. Or she's doing, excuse me.
Well, she's running away. She's playing hard to get. The Viking gives up. He's going to find another girl. That's how it happened, man.
And a sensor tower going down, so he will be able to defend against this later. There is Cloak finished here, so he's going to be able to get in, force a scan, take out a few units. Maybe force a stim? Nope. Just a scan.
Well, he doesn't have stim, so it's almost done, but it's not quite.
15 minutes into the game, and these players still do not have stim quite yet.
It's been a very unusual game. And this Banshee, whoa! That was a little bit odd and unusual.
Yeah, he's trying to get a lot of different things going on at the same time. If you spread yourself too thin, can actually make it a little bit worse for you, even though if you do it correctly, it can be really, really powerful. Scan going down just before the Cloak finished anyway, so there wasn't really that much of a loss. Meanwhile, the second Banshee is getting a lot of kills here, up to 6.
Yeah, this little move here by SC is keeping him in this game a little bit. Even another Banshee going to come in to try to do damage. But she might fall in love with this Viking. Nope.
Not this time.
They tried to meet up at the coffee shop, and the Viking didn't show, and she's never going to talk to him again.
She's just going to cloak and disappear.
She did, man. That's exactly what she did.
That's why they have caller ID.
This Tech Lab is going to get taken out. Interesting choice to go for that. He wants to target down things he can get. Of course, if he goes too close to the mineral line, there's missile turrets there, so...
Yeah, but the interesting thing is that Tech Lab's actually doing nothing. Even that barracks is only producing Marines, so not that much of a loss.
Oh, loses it. Now I think Noblesse is going to go for an attack, which may, in fact, end the game. He's doing a drop at the same time, killing a lot of SCVs here. SC in a really tough spot. He's going to lose more and more SCVs.
Yeah, this is doing... it did a good amount of damage. It gets cleaned up, but the thing is it kept SC distracted for a little while, kept the Banshees away from hurting Noblesse's mineral line, and then allowed Noblesse to move his main army across the field. However, there are 4 siege tanks up in position, but they're not quite in position to be able to defend against the Nexus. Command center, and the command center is going to be forced to lift and back off to where it can be safe. There's a lot more reinforcements coming in here, but there is a Banshee doing a lot of damage to those reinforcements. If it can get over these trees and run... Or could die. That's really not good for the environment to throw the scrap metal into those treed areas.
Yeah, it could really affect the lifespan of those trees. Point defense run goes down to try to help out here. Actually may keep this Banshee alive. Not against Marine shots, though. Man, SC is doing everything so perfectly. He's just so behind from what happened earlier on. But he is just doing a great job of finding every avenue he can, trying to keep himself in this game. He's got better siege tank positioning here. And Noblesse is going to have to leave, at least for a little bit of time.
But we do also have Blue Flame coming out here for SC. If he gets that, his Hellions will be a lot stronger. And there's a lot of Marines out here for Noblesse that he can do a lot of damage to. Big line of SCVs. That's every Hellion's dream.
There's a dropship, actually, from Noblesse. Going to try to go into the main. He's got one dropship in the main that doesn't have any Marines in it, but he's sending a real dropship into the main. And these Banshees have kept SC in the game.
He lost that Banshee without cloaking at all, though. He was not completely paying attention. And here, a drop like we were talking about on the very wide open back of the main is going to be able to do a lot of front. And the siege tanks are able to hit the main like you were talking about earlier as well.
Torch and I were both just like complimenting how this game was going to go. This is very difficult to deal with. The Cloak Banshee going to help out again, but he lost it. Didn't micro back. The Marines doing a lot of damage at the SCV line at the natural, and Morgan running in. Just too much. Noblesse looks pretty dominant here. SC just doesn't have enough gas to spend his resources. He's got 900 minerals in the bank.
I think that's going to seal the deal. The expansion is going to be forced to float away once again. It's actually most likely going to get taken down unless these siege tanks can kill the Marines very, very quickly. But they kill all the SCVs. So even if he gets the expansion back, he has no one to mine from it. He's got no minerals left in his main. He's got siege tanks over his main. There's medevacs floating over his base. I think this is SC going to Code A right now.
Yeah, I think you're right. Noblesse may be our new Code S player. Starting to look pretty conclusive.
Maybe. He's going to clean this up, but at the expense of everything.
Well, clean this up, but then Marauders roll in, and it's 115 supply to a 16
Or, you know, that
supply.
other army that was the other side of the base.
GG! Noblesse advances to Code S. SC falls to Code A.
Very good for him, and that does continue the streak on the right side winning, except for one game. So, 90% right side wins. Keep that in mind for tomorrow.
Well, it's not quite 90% because there weren't 10 games. There were only 9. Oh, got you there, Torch.
Wrong again.
That's all right.
But
we
I
both
gave
have our
that
mistakes
8th game to Tassadar, though.
Yes.
So, it is 90%.
I mean, you gave it to him.
Yeah. And that's
all
all that matters.
But
because it was a throwaway
someone's
game.
going to like put it on TLPD. It's like, but it never happened.
He was on the right, therefore he got the default win. So a lot of really interesting TVT games out here today. That was a really great last game for TVT. Shows that, yes, some TVT games can go for very long and be almost entirely macro games with both players getting a battle for the upgrades and position and other things like that. But then you can also have these other crazy games of TVT where you both go for some sort of early game aggression, completely different aggression, end up almost on the exact same footing, but one player keeps it up a little bit longer and just does slightly better as it continues to go, and that can really change the pace for the rest of the game.
Yeah, something Unstable and I were actually talking about yesterday was when both players go gas first, both players go for harassment, you're trying to harass and micro that, while he's trying to micro to defend while he's harassing you, and it's like, which one do you pick? You can only do one. You don't actually like Flash or Jadon. You can't do both. I'm actually just gonna like start so many flame wars just by mentioning their name. But you know, if you're microing your Banshee, you're trying to kill SCVs, but there's Hellions in your base. If you leave the Banshee alone, a lot of times if you leave the Banshee alone, it's the one that can do it.
Yep.
But if you leave the Hellion alone, it's like, well, it could just be attacking a tech lab. It's not.
Or be surrounded by SCVs, and then it's not really doing any damage anyway. So really, you got to have 400 to 500 APM, like a lot of these Korean players. But the thing is, when both players are microing everything perfectly,
there's like a lot of different situations. It's like you're both microing at one base, then the person whose base isn't being attended sometimes loses out.
Well, I think both bases were actually attended. It was just a Banshee had a lot more mobility in that situation, while the Hellions being dropped didn't actually have the mobility.
Yeah, he actually had to control them, and the Banshee did not have to be controlled.
Yeah.
Now, there were no turrets, and he had Cloak, and there weren't enough scans. That was just all there was to say about it. So, and then from there, SC actually did everything right. He just was he was playing with like one arm basically, like tied behind his back, and
that's the concern with games like this. Is
there's Choya, and of course ASD coming there to. But FXO SC, I still have my hand tied behind my back. I'm gonna cast with one hand tied behind my back. Can't use my mouse. Choya, a very good coach. I mean, I talked about this when I cast a super tournament. He always came and cheered his players on, and I just felt like, oh, he's a good coach. I don't actually know that, but he always comes. Now I spend a lot of time with this guy. And
keep in mind, Choya is a good coach, but right now he's
that wasn't Choya.
He's on a plane to MLG, So if you guys think GSL exciting, you're correct. But that's not the only thing that's out there for StarCraft 2 esports. Check out this weekend with MLG. They're having their Anaheim event. A lot of really good GSL players will be there as well, probably sweeping every single top position, just like last time. But going to be some really good games. If you're in the area, check it out. Also, you can probably watch GSL from the Anaheim convention area. Pay attention to news posts and Team Liquid in a little while to find out exactly what will be going on. But exciting things are on their way.
Will be going on.
Yep.
It's going to be pretty fun.
It's esports. It's always exciting.
Esports is always exciting, man.
Except when they get to like contract disputes and other things like that.
Well, sometimes esports isn't exciting if you're like on a plane too and you're just like, oh, I have to fly all the time.
Yeah.
That's not exciting. Well, it's exciting to go to new places, but I'm just thinking about, now that you mentioned Shoei being on the plane, I was like, I wonder how that's going for him right now. He's probably getting to the 4-hour mark where he's like, oh, I still have 10 hours
He's
to go.
gone through all the good movies.
Yeah.
Had the food that you realize after the fact is really bad. Rather just wait until you get to
Well, I
your
made all the wrong
destination.
choices on my flight. Like, I didn't get the bibimbap.
Oh, bibimbap.
Yeah, I know. I
bibimbap
just
is
like
good.
saying it like in the American pronunciation.
Yeah.
Bibimbap. That's how you say it, right?
I'd like the-
bibimbap. It sounds like a beatbox thing going on.
Really just vegetables and egg and rice, but
it's better than
delicious.
They gave me just beef. I think that's what they called it, just beef. And I was like, yeah, I'll take that. I mean, I eat bibimbap at home all the time. I never actually eat beef. And that's funny because I live in the U.S., but I pretty much grew up with Korean people, and I have a weird family situation, man. But so yeah, I was like, well, I actually haven't had beef in a while, and the beef was terrible. And I was looking at the guy next to me who got the bibimbap, and I was like,
just steal his food when he's not looking.
yeah, I kind of wanted to just take it from him.
You know, you can just ask for a change of food then.
You can, or you can just ask for another one. They'll probably give it to you in most cases. But all right, so we're gonna take a look at some of our results. Look at that Code S medallion.
And a bunch of crushed Code A medallions.
So, now in Code S, he 4-0'd the group, 3-1, ASD now in Code S, and SC now in Code A. anypro now in Code A being 0-3, and Tassadar stays in Code A through 0-3 as well. And those results shown in another manner up here.
And once again, the 8th game, which was supposed to be anypro versus Tassadar, did not need to be played.
So they're both 0-3, so it would have been, one person would have been 3-1, and the other person would have been 0-4, and it wouldn't have mattered.
Yep,
Neither
they tied for 4th place. Very sad. It shows that Terran, very strong race here.
Yeah, Terran being quite
successful.
Successful yesterday as well.
So this will be tomorrow. It is going to be TSL Alive, OGS Inca, MVP Keen, Linak Foyu, also part of the FXO team, and Enes Hosu Bonbons, or Bonbon? I don't know how you pronounce that.
Well, there's no, like, you can't use the V sound in Korea. You have to use the V sound, because the V sound just doesn't exist in the alphabet.
And there's no TH either, so interesting.
So it's weird. It's like they just assume, whoever made that translation, I think it was
No,
Bonbon.
it's actually his choice. Like he
did?
Gom asked him if he wanted to change it to Bonbons with B and then S.
Yeah, because I remember that's how it used to be spelled. So I thought that Gom was trying to cater to foreigners, but...
Nope. It's actually Bonbon's request to have his name spelled that way. He thought the spelling was quite interesting, so that's what he chose. And it's what the players want. If they want to change their name every month, they're allowed to do that as well.
Look at... I'm like, actually, like, put my fingers over here. Look at that, twitter.com/GomTV. Go there. Go to m.gomtv.net. And if you're a premium user and you're not on your iPhone watching this right now, you could be.
Yes. And even if you don't have an iPhone, you can watch all the VODs on your phone if you go to m.gomtv.net. So check that out when you're on the subway with nothing else to go on the train, in your car when you're not driving, or maybe when you are as well.
Remember, guys,
help you micro your car.
Also, the finals are on Saturday. Yonsei University. It's going to be pretty
awesome.
Exciting. I know...
Our first ZVZ finals?
It's our first ZVZ finals. I know it's ZVZ, but Lucira's a really good player, and Nest's ZVZ is the best in the world.
Nesti is amazing, so yeah, that'll be
it'll be exciting at the very least.
Yeah, and Lucira is going to actually surprise a lot of people. He is a lot stronger than his results actually show. Yes, he's made it to the finals of a GSL, but he's even better than that.
Do you think they're practicing with each other for the finals?
That would be interesting.
They're both on the same team. They're sitting next to each other. They're putting up the cardboard in between.
Well, Nesti actually doesn't live in the IM house, so
that's true.
Shouldn't be too bad. But the real question is, who do they steal for practice partners?
I don't know. I actually haven't. I don't think they've taken any FXO guys. I haven't heard about it. If they hadn't, FXO guys are on a plane, so it can't be very useful at this moment. And then when they get there, they're going to be sleeping in a hotel.
It'll be very interesting games on Saturday, though. That is definitely a guarantee. A lot of new ZVZ strategies always coming out from Nesty. Very strong player. Very good mind game player.
We could see some really interesting games like we saw Nesty versus July with Ultralist pretty recently. We've seen a lot of Mutalist plays starting to be dabbled with. It's very difficult to use, but new strategies are coming out. Nesty is very smart, and he's basically the mentor of Lucira.
Yeah, Lucira actually getting a lot of skill or a lot of strategies from Nesty, but also from Junwei as well.
All right, guys, that's it for us for tonight. We'll see you tomorrow.
Slower